chance. We are working with time. It's coming up to almost 4:38. We decided to start a bit early so that we can get as much discussion this afternoon. So Moki Bubuala can see as your work coming in, Moki Grandma, Awoni, our grandchildren call Alani Jeka Shiri. So much happening around the world, and as much as Nigeria is a lot happening there, there's also a lot happening in the global world that we are living today. So about the share button, about very, very important that we invite others to join as well. So what are we discussing today? It is the same thing that we've talked about, and the same thing that we have been telling us, that Yoruba needs to have its own system of government, which is completely different from Nigeria. There's no amount of what we can do to save Nigeria as it stands right now. I know not everybody will agree, but we hope that you will all agree at some point. Also, report is coming that we lost one of our father in Yoruba land, a member of the Yoruba nation, and we can only pray for his soul. And I will be giving a bit of background discussion about him in just about a few minutes. So like I said, there's a lot to catch up with, and we're doing that slowly. As you're coming in, please share the program as well. Babawa Bishop, known as Macaulay, is a very strong member of the Yoruba nation at home, and Oloye not in Nika Kiwanda, but we're working on that, and hopefully before 10 o'clock we will be releasing a proper press release on behalf of our own Chief Sunday Igboho. So that is also coming up on that. Welcome to our discussion this afternoon. So I am still prepping, as you can tell. Moki sister as well. Moki our Taiwo Kike, Moki our Koikimedia team, and as many people. So let us play something while I set up the last part of the platform, and hopefully we will start before 5 o'clock. And we get ample of time. Hopefully we will finish either before 8 o'clock or before 7. We see how it goes. Moki Bubu Alen Konsi. Betuka was sorry Koniwa.
Nígbà tó bá wá yá àwọn tẹ́tí jẹ ní gbèsè tí gbogbo wọn ti yáwó lọ́wọ́ wọn tó ti pé wọ́n ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Ẹni tó bá ti fẹ́ ṣèṣílẹ̀ ẹni bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe ẹni bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe wẹ́ẹ̀dì ẹni bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe ayẹyẹ tòkú ẹni bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe toyè ẹni bọ́ ṣe ń bowó jẹ́. Mo tán fowó ṣe nìyẹn. At the end of the day gbogbo àwọn tó lọ yá àwọn owó ìlọ́wọ́ wọn á padà wá pẹ̀lú ṣùgbọ́n nítorí pé kí ni Ọlọ́run lè fẹ́ wa kò jẹ́ kó fẹ́ ká ṣe ẹrú gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ aládé tó pè wá. Òun ló ṣe lànà àbáyọ fún wa, ló ṣe yọ àwọn ẹni bí ẹni èèyàn bí èèyàn bí bàbá wa Akíntóyè, bàbá wa olóyè Sunday Igboho, bàbá mi White Lion tí ṣe Ọláyọmí Kóìkì tí kò ń sùn láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lóru fún ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí, àwọn update lẹ́sẹsẹ àwọn nǹkan tó ṣókùnkùn sí yín, àwọn tó ti gbà sọ yín sínú bondage tó ti gbà dè yín mọ́lẹ̀. Kóìkì àwa láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lálẹ́ wá tu gbogbo ẹ̀. Mo ṣe program kan ní àṣìbíyànjú rẹ̀ àbí ìjẹta sórí YouTube ní láti máa sọ wípé there are so many things tó jẹ́ pé ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ táwọn tó jẹ́ gbọ́dọ̀ Kóìkì láti rí. Mo fẹ́ sáré mo ṣe program lọ́wọ́ báyìí náà ní lórí YouTube. Mo wá fẹ́ sáré lọ́wọ́ fídíò kan lọ́dọ̀ wọn, mo fẹ́ ṣú ẹ̀ fún àwọn èèyàn bí mo tún ṣe rí ànọ́dá tí ìyẹn tí mo ní ẹgbàá mi. Ọ̀dọ̀ Kóìkì ni mo ti kọ́kọ́ rí panápaná mọ́tò tó ń jóná. Nígbà tí mọ́tò panápaná ń jóná ìjọta ló wá fẹ́ paná. Ẹ̀rí pé náà yẹn máa jójójójó alẹ́ èrò ni. Because kò sẹ́ni tó fẹ́ paná. First time in my life tí máa rí pé mọ́tò panápaná dẹ̀ jóná, ó jóná bẹ́ẹ̀ ó jóná tán. fún wa. So ẹ wá jẹ́ káwa náà wá ṣe kí ni ká sowọ́ pọ̀. Nísìn ìran Yorùbá èmi á sọ wípé kò síyà fún wa mú àwa la dẹ̀ ń fìyà jẹra wa Ọlọ́run ò fìyà jẹ wá. Ọ̀nà tá a dẹ̀ ń gbà fìyà jẹra wa ni pé àìsọ̀pọ̀tì ọwọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn tó yẹ ká sọ̀pọ̀tì pẹ̀lú. Tá a bá lè fi inú lónú ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká sọ̀pọ̀tì wọn nísìn. We are getting there, we are getting out of that failures country. Àti kúrò ní location náà nìyẹn. So ẹ jọ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ wá ọ̀rọ̀ million account. If any country tẹ bá wà, ìbá jẹ £10, £10, $10, 10 sefa, 10 euro, 10 gbogbo ẹ̀, 10 gbogbo owó tó bá ti lọ láyé ẹ lọ fi sí. And if you have more than that, please put it. My daddy, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò sáà, daddy mi Dr. Ọlámọ àìpé oníwà yín tí bàbá mi. So ẹ lọ fi sí.
And we welcome you into the conversation. So let's play our I think let's listen to Fela as well. Can you get my mic, my speaker rather, in that bag for me, please? That's it.
One day you must ask them, oh, you don't go ask them, you must ask. When the time is ready, we go ask. Everybody say yeah, yeah.
Let's try
These the young people, they fit deceive you. Why do they do like these people like this now? One day you must ask them, oh, you don't go ask them, you must ask. When the time is ready, we go ask. Everybody say yeah, yeah.
Lenkan Simokiwa, there will be, as usual, some background noise and all that. I'm sure we're all used to that now, which we shouldn't be worried about. This platform stands only for Yoruba Nation. I am not interested in how you want to fix your Nigeria. We have said it and we say it again and again. Nigeria cannot be fixed. If you try, it is still not going to be fixable. So why then are we trying to fix it? So what we should be discussing is the way out. Bashima Daduro Tamakuro no Nigeria. But many people do not want to accept and agree to that.
Nigeria is expired in 2014. Ẹ̀jáwọ́ nínú ẹ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká tún kólókòlókò máa lọ. Káwá Yorùbá ká lọ bójú tó ọ̀rọ̀ ara wa. A ní ìdègbè láti lò. A ní lo tablet àgbòlání àti èkì ńláńlá bí ayélujára bí lẹ́rọ̀ bí àwùsàtálẹ̀ bí àwọn nǹkan tá ní ìdègbè yẹn nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. A ní nígbà tí wọ́n kó wa lẹ́rú tó kún bẹ́ẹ̀lẹ̀ níbi second world war. Ẹ̀mọ̀kan tó mú ìgbẹ̀ sí ni. Wọ́n yìnbọn sí Yorùbá kò rán, wọ́n sọ alága kò rán, wọ́n sọ lọ́dẹ kò rán, wọ́n jẹ́ wọ́n dìbò tó ní wọ́n fẹ̀ jáde. Nínú àwọn ìwọ̀n lẹ́yìn, kí ni a máa lọ fi táwọn lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀sìn agbéwálé wọn lọ́wọ́. Ìyẹn ní kìrìsìtẹ́nì. Ẹ wo wèrè wáṣà, ẹ wo wèrè. Nígbà tó wá yá, ó ti wá kọ́ọ̀bù jáde, àwọn Abẹ́òkúta, àwọn olókìlẹ̀ àwọn British lọ. Wọ́n gbogbo lórí iṣẹ́, wọ́n gbogbo sínú bàtà, wọ́n gbogbo sínú oúnjẹ wọn, wọ́n náà ṣe bá dé, wọ́n kò ní bọ́lá Abẹ́òkúta, ó padà délé òkèkè sí. Wọ́n pa Abíọ́lá, wọ́n gbẹ́jọba fún Sọ́mẹ́gàn, ṣé Sọ́mẹ́gàn fi ṣe rè? Wọ́n pa Abíọ́lá, wọ́n ní kájọ́ ọba sọ́kọ́ fún ọ̀sán túbọ̀ ọ̀sán mẹ́jọ, bí ó bá jẹ́ kìí sẹ́ni àlè tó yẹ kó gbà. Nítorí ajé wèrè, nítorí ajé wèrè, nítorí ajé.
And now let's play the anthem. We're set, we're ready to go, and we can catch up with the program this afternoon.
Come
and I welcome us into the Yoruba Nation campaign. The question many people want to know is, what kind of political system la ma run when we have a country of our own? Is it going to be the same corrupt, unreliable form of political party? Many people today has a bitter experience when it comes to election in Nigeria. But what we need to remember is that the first election was rigged. The first ever election in Nigeria was rigged by the British when we were told to go and prepare for independence in 1958-59. Eventually, war rigged. And the rigging was done because they knew that the Yoruba people are likely to win that election. And they decided to rig it. So, 63 years after, we are still here talking about rigging of election. And we saw that since 1999, títí di wákàtí, there have never been any standard election in Nigeria. Some argue that the election of 1993 was the best, the free and fair election until Babangida cancelled it. So the question we should be asking ourselves today is, how many elections do you think Nigeria will conduct before you can get it right? How many? If we go back and divide 25, I believe we've done 25 years of democracy according to what we are told. So let's do some calculation. But before we do that, ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ lọ sí ìdílé bàbá wa tí wọ́n ṣaláìsí ní àná according to ètí mo gbọ́ lẹ́nu ìyá Jagun. Bàbá wa yìí, many of you might not know him, but I can tell you that many people that are involved in the movement knows him very well. But he passed on yesterday morning, according to the information reaching us. I believe the news filtered out only about today when messages were put through on all the platforms across those that are in support of Yoruba Nation. You might have seen it on different media, but like I said, I've not spoken to Professor Akintoye, but I spoke to CSI, and he's also sending his condolences to the family and all the Yorubas around the world. Today's our father that passed on yesterday morning. I will give you a bit of information that has come to my desk. This was put together by the Elekun, the YSDM Okun in Kogi State. This was put together by Chief OLAYOMI David. As usual, Yoruba well read. He's a PhD, Min, CSD, JP, Officer of the Order of Yoruba Land. Ara Babawa to kui. Let me show you his image. That is the image right there. And we pray that as he has left this sinful world that is full of unsettled situation, not just in Nigeria, across the globe. Yoruba Nation Makpada Wasaye, and individuals like these and many that have died since Nigeria was joined together that are Yorubas will all be remembered. But Amfi Asikoyi, Afin Ba Gbogbo Ọmọ Yorùbá kẹ́dùn lórí bàbá wa tí a máa dárúkọ wọn pẹ̀lú tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀. A lot of people know him as Bishop Macaulay. Elekun Eko. Most people would have known him as Babawa Bishop Macaulay Elekun Eko. This is what was put together. Oyemade Macaulay. That is his name. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay is the YSDM Elekun Eko. What is YSDM? Most of you might know, and most of you might probably not know. YSDM is the movement. We are just the campaigners. So we have the Yoruba self-determination movement, because this is a movement, okay? It's not a political party like the structured APC and the PDP. It's not any political party. It's not affiliated with any political party. It is known as a movement. And under the right of the international community, having a movement like this is allowed. So Bishop Oyemade Macaulay, the YSDM Elekun Eko, that died yesterday morning, and we pray that his soul will rest in peace. To put it as simple, as correctly as possible, this man was the soul of the Yoruba nation struggle at homeland level. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá wà lórí social media tẹ́ ẹ ní wọ́n ṣe nǹkan kan nílé, kò sí nǹkan kan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay was one man that stood firm, was one man that stood upright, that differentiate himself from the others, especially knowing that he's a Christian that believe that the Yoruba people needs to have an independent country away from Nigeria. Elekun Eko was in all intent and the purpose the chairman of the Elekuns. We willingly allowed him to play that role because he was just the best, the most committed, and the most sacrificial. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay, the YSDM Elekun Eko, held the home front together because he was more patient than all the Elekuns. In reorganizing the struggle, the leader created the YSDM, the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, a name we would all be bearing at each state level from now on. A big council and executive committee were created, but dominated by Yoruba in the diaspora, who saw themselves as the Lord of all. At a point, the Elekuns were invited as observers. We were appalled by the overarching interest in creating a huge bureaucracy that had nothing to do with the struggle. The homeland people saw a lot of Yoruba in diaspora who were ignorant of what the situation on ground at home is. We didn't see an appreciation of challenges the struggle faced or specific strategies to overcome them. Many of them had not spent 10 days in their villages or local government in Nigeria in the last 10 years, and wanted to direct the struggle from their safe havens in the US and Europe. Nobody was talking about the strategies for achieving the Yoruba nation. They were instead more interested in creating positions. The homeland Elekuns were appalled. We decided that we would not be part of it and told Professor Akintoye so. It was the late Elekun Eko who said to us, "Cool temper, my brothers," and methodically worked with Professor Adebanji Akintoye and the diaspora people to bring us all together. He explained the need for the diaspora to listen to the homeland and the latter to understand the perspectiveness of the former. It was Elekun Eko who did more than anyone to let all sides know the specific values and how these can be brought to bear on the struggle. When he passed on yesterday late afternoon, the CPMO Akpapo Elekun convened an emergency meeting in the evening. Adults were breaking down like children. Some even said the struggle is all over. Some said with the departure of Olakun Eko, they were going to resign. If Olakun Eko is replaceable, we don't see how yet, and certainly we don't see the person yet. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay Olakun Eko was more active than any other homeland official. He crafted the Oromiyan Multipurpose Cooperative Society single-handedly to be a cover for raising funds and impacting the lives of the people. All states were to adopt this. He created and managed the homeland Ewa Oromiyan and organized the account. Millions have been raised by both outfits. Bishop made some personal sacrifice for the struggle at home than any other. He used his family house as a surety for the bail of Sauti Igboho, who the authorities are persecuting for his Yoruba Nation activities. He has raised all the funds for the legal fees thus far. Bishop organized the participation of Olakun in the burial ceremonies of the mother of CSI, including the production of the CPMO Alema, to which he contributed huge sums and organized the production. Bishop was arrested for attending a Yoruba meeting in Lagos a few months ago. The police detained him in solitary confinement for 6 days, then charged him to court. The deterioration in his health started from that police station. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay personally paid over 1 million naira for his bail and legal charges. Till his death, the YSDM Council and Executive Committee have refused to refund these expenses to him in spite of several appeals through Professor Akintoye or directly. Bishop Oyemade Macaulay spent and was spent for the Yoruba self-determination struggle. He gave it all he had. He died for it. Bishop will be remembered as one of the greatest lovers, and servant of the Yoruba cause in this century. Is he replaceable? To find another man with such capacity, selflessness, commitment, courage, with multiple question marks. Only God can do that, because we, his colleagues, are too small to wear his big shoes. May his great soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. Chief Oluwayomi David, PhD, CSD, JP, Officer of the Order of Yoruba Land, Olakun, YSDF, Okun, Kogi State. May the soul of our father rest in peace. A lot of pointer was raised in that particular press release from the Olakuns, but I'm sure those that has the know would have to look into some of the things that were raised at àwọn nǹkan tó sọ níbẹ̀. Kọ́lọ́n kó bá foríjì bàbá wa tí à ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọn tí wọ́n ṣaláìsí, tí a mọ̀ sí Bishop Macaulay ìyẹn Olakun Eko. He died yesterday, the 9th day of the month of July 2024. And whether we like it or not, that is how humans will continue to go. Their spirit will live forever. So for those of you that probably say, when is Yoruba Nation going to come? Just play your part and leave the rest until it will finally happen. How soon, I can't tell you. It's subject to when everybody really wants to be part of it and we want to have a country of our own. If not, we will just all be doing the same thing we are doing right now and prepare our mind, and we hope that one day we will eventually be free from the bondage and the shackles of what Nigeria has kept every single one of us. Yoruba Nation does not need to go and beg, does not need to go and ask for favor from anybody. Those that believe that they have the right to be part of it, when the appropriate time comes, we hope that they will be part of it. One thing is that those that are running the affairs of Nigeria today, whether they are young or old, at some point they would also die. How soon they will die is what we don't know, but at some point, and they will die. What we then remember them for is what we should ask ourselves, especially on the political terrain of Southwest today. They have money, they are powerful, they believe that they are untouchable, but the only thing that they cannot touch is death, and it will happen to them. We've seen governors that have died lately, we've seen politicians that have died, we've even seen the ordinary citizen that have also died, especially after the bomb blast that took place on the 16th of January 2024. So like I said, adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìgbésí ayé tí Bishop Oyemade Macaulay tó gbé, nítorí pé he stood his ground until his death, that he will not be in support, he will not pray for Nigeria anymore, he will not have all his strength again to work towards the repair of Nigeria. Because after you have known the truth, and the truth will set you free, you will not want to have anything to do with the Nigeria. But many Nigerians today still want to have something to do with Nigeria, especially the youth. They believe that they can maneuver, they believe that they have what it takes to unite Nigerians. They believe that they have the capacity to tell Nigerians that we should all work hard. We should all work hard to, we should all work hard to make sure that we try to fix Nigeria. Many Nigerians like that, whether they are the diaspora Nigerians, whether they are the home-based Nigerians, whether they are the Nigerians in Africa countries that are hoping that, since we have been told that Nigeria is the most powerful country or the most populous black nation in Africa, we should not allow it to dissolve. So an intellectual person will then start arguing that all we are going through, other countries have gone through it. But what they don't tell you is that other countries that they are talking about, and this is today's newspaper, because we are all aware that within the next few hours, both Netherlands and England will be playing. They've not even told us that it is UK and I'm just monitoring the development with the killing in UK of the 3 women, because there's a news going on as we speak right now. So I'm following that news as this young criminal guy has not been found yet. And this is what makes UK and European country different from Nigeria, because since this incident happened, they've brought in thousands of facilities and resources to support that community not too far from Enfield in North London. So right now, there's a report coming through from Sky.
Richard, we can see members of the public close to the police cordon there. For them, it must be very concerning, given that the police have said they believe that he could still be armed with all manner of weapons.
Absolutely. I'm looking actually to find the camera, which won't be able to see it. Dozens of people who have gathered. You'll be able to see them on the roads here, taking pictures, speaking to the police. Some out of a sense of curiosity, but also a real amount of concern. Actually, local schools were telling parents earlier to come and pick up their children rather than letting those of primary school age walk home on their own. Such is the level of concern in this area. Enfield itself is a huge expanse. It's popular with dog walkers, with runners. It's a sort of place where the family would take their children for a picnic at the weekend. It's a huge space, but it's also the sort of area with lots of tree cover. It's not that open. It's very hilly, as you're saying. So this is the area which the police have
Well, we leave that. That is how news are meant to be reported. But the difference that we have in Nigeria is that when terrorists kidnap Nigerians, rather than the reportage to continue, rather than the reportage to be live, going on continuously, what we do in Nigeria is that we are coming on the social media. And I'll give you an example in a minute. But let me come back to this quickly. So this is a Wednesday newspaper. Remember that, like I said, if we want Yoruba Nation air, we will print papers with information. Ama printing of things that we can give to our people to read about. Go back there 1 page in it, 2 page in it. But we've not done that continuously in the last 3 years. You know why? Because we don't have the fund. We don't have the resources. So what we are doing is we believe that we have reached everybody. Even if everybody is aware about Yoruba Nation, you keep the message going. It's like waking up, about to go Yoruba Nation, and I go and sleep, even if I am tired. But you don't go to bed. Because why? You will constantly keep the news in the face of the people. And that is what this paper does from Monday to Friday. It is free. You will pick it up. You will read about it. It costs sport. It got businesses. It got all kind of different information. But have anyone asked, báwo ló ṣe ń funded? How does this paper get funding? Is it through the government? It's not through the government because it's a private entity. It's a private newspaper. But it is sponsored by adverts from companies that want to showcase something. And they will decide what news they want the world to know. So if you are one of those now thinking that one newspaper in UK will then come and say, Yoruba Nation or Yoruba people, they want to exit Nigeria, you're lying to yourself. Even the paper in Nigeria hardly talk about it. Kamaiti was so paper abroad. This is what is called information. Because without information, right now, the information keeps going on.
Well, the pressure really will be on, won't it, given that the police believe he is still armed?
Yes, and that's what's so terrifying for the residents who saw in those 2 last reports, that there are numbers of members of the public in and around the vicinity of.
So, in Nigeria, as an example, when kidnapping occurs, the news should continue until the solution is being resolved. But because we have told you that we are not having the kind of political parties that are interested in humanity and the rights of many Nigerians. So many Nigerians have now had to save themselves by going to their religious center and pray that hopefully one day they will not be kidnapped, or they will not be in the need for medical, for all kind of different things, from education, from your businesses, and how to survive. What you should not be worried about, that is meant to be the job of the politicians to be worried about. The politicians have decided that you should be the one to worry about it. If you think that you need any kind of support, you should be the one to sort it out yourself. It is not the role or the job of the politician. But this is not meant to be. And this is not how a country is meant to be. So the first pointer is, how do you get in the right politicians? How do you have the right politician? Is when you have a quality election. Election that you can go back and say, I truly voted for something that will bring the transformation that I want. Many of you, whether you voted or not, for the last 25 years of the failed democracy in Nigeria, you have been told that your vote counts. But when you play back, even if you did not vote, you should ask yourself, has your vote ever counted? So this country that you see today, each time I pick up the paper in the morning, I love to go to the Today in History, because what do we understand by history? And why is history important? History is important because it allows us to prepare our mind for either something that has played back or happened some thousands of years ago, or something we can emulate or ask questions around. So when some of you say you will have a better country, the question is, how are you going to have a better country if the history around that country is questionable? Because Nigeria as a country is questionable. We need to question it. We need to question Nigeria because Nigeria itself has a terrible foundation. And that foundation is one of the reasons why you will not have a quality election that will produce the best people for the job. Because those that you are putting in for the job, careless whether after you have voted for them, your life is protected or your life is well taken care of. They are not interested. What they are interested is how to accumulate the wealth, how to make sure that after they've become your senator, your House of Reps, you will not be able, you dare not question them. And if you question them, your life will be at risk. So you can now understand why you cannot continue in this kind of madness. What we should then ask is question. But those questions that we are putting out there, some of you now are also questioning us that what right do we have to question your politicians that have kept you in danger? Because we are questioning them. You are also now questioning us and say, for Yoruba nation, if you are still our satisfied with the condition that Barawa nisin, and so for long could change it. But you know that you are lying to yourself. So let me give you some of what I picked up in terms of the history today. And let's see if we can learn one or two things and why these things happened. So let's first look at the first one. It says AD 138. AD 138, Adriana Roman Imperial So let's type that. Now, I've gone back to a long time ago, just like Yoruba people have been around a long time ago as well. We are not new to the world that we are living today. Can you see if you can find out my map, the small one in this bag, please? We also have been people that have been around this world until the Europeans, due to their exploration, manipulated, killed, and decided that after some years of whatever they've done to us, especially with the slave trade, would then change who we are as Yoruba people. So let's go back to Adrian. Adrian, as spelled Hadrian, was born, according to this information, on January 24, 76 CE. 76 CE. As at that time, there has always been a Yoruba people that have lived during that era as well. So whatever I am telling you now, these same people that we are talking about, we also have set of people like that in our own geographical location in Yoruba land until the destruction of who we are by all kind of manners of different things that have played out for a very long time. He also, according to this information, well, he died on the 10th, which is the reason why they're talking about him today. Because, like I said, this is today's paper, just for, again, clarification, 10th of July, 2024. So, if this man died yesterday, we would have found out in the paper yesterday. But for the fact that he died today, it is now known as history. So when we are now saying that, where are all the Yorubas that lived before the 1913? Why are we not talking about them? Why have we decided to throw them away, but we want to now start a new country from 1914? So what the West or the Europeans are trying to tell us is that let us throw away everything that existed prior before the 1914 amalgamation. Let us abandon it. Let us forget about it. Let us not even remember it. Because sometimes when you tell people that 1914 amalgamation, they will be telling you about how the regional government was destroyed. They'll imagine you are telling someone and sonipa into shele in 1914 àti kí ló tin ṣẹlẹ̀ bọ̀. They're not interested in that. They want to start the conversation from when the regional government was destroyed. And that shows and tells you that we are dealing with how the West have manipulated every one of us. And they are very good at that. So, what they've done is, ẹ máa sọ nǹkan kan mọ́ nípa 1913. Ẹ jẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìrìn àjò ilé wa láti 1914. Kódà, let's calculate some years now. Let's minus 1914. Let's take away from 1914. 1914. Take away 1960. Do you know the answer?
Nope.
Can you try?
What?
1914. Take away 1960.
0, 1.
1914. Take away 1960. All right.
I think it's 0.
No,
I
no,
think it's 1.
no. It's not.
10.
No. I'll tell you now. That's 46. Yes, 46. Thank you. So, after the fraudulent expired 1914 amalgamation, because right now, this amalgamation expired 14 years ago. But you will be wondering why it has not ended. Even after we were amalgamated, the British continued to suck us dry for 46 years before they now say, okay, hey, Awolowo, you have grown up, but you were not there when we did this amalgamation. Why do you now want to come and destroy what we put together? Zeke, why do you want to destroy what we put together? Tafa Balewa, you guys were babies. You guys were not adults. You guys were just minor. Now, because you have become grown men, remember that these people I mentioned and so many others were fighting for independence before they were 40. So they started challenging the British and asking questions. That same question that we are asking today, that many Nigerians are antagonistic against us, and they know the truth, but they are saying, no, Koiki, let's play it very nice. Let us work from 1960. You see that 1914, let us even abandon it. What the British did was that for over 46 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 4 decades. I have not lived in this country up to that. Some of our families, uncles, aunties, they've lived here, especially those that came in the 80s. I have lived 2 decades. But imagine that British joined us together in 1914, which itself is a crime against the indigenous people. They now continue to operate using their means of collaboration with some of our people through, again, another kind of fraudulent means, imposing governors, administrator on us. We will continue to pay taxes to the British and levies, and then we were also not being developed. They were only developing the routes where they had all our resources. So when you say that British created a rail line, go back and ask yourself, those rail lines were from where resources were coming, whether it was the coal in Enugu all the way to the seaport, whether it was one thing or the other. That was what they were doing. And we were still under the colonial rule even after the amalgamation. Imagine the amalgamation, they now gave us back Nigeria to go and manage on our own. They did not, because they were still enjoying the wealth of that land that was not known as Nigeria prior before 1914. Because the 1914 amalgamation itself was not in existence, that the British were already milking us. They've been with us for decades, because we knew that there was a slave trade through the Atlantic that went on for 500 years plus. My question is, why did the British not finally hand over Nigeria to every one of us, even after the amalgamation? They did not. Because they knew that if they have given up back Nigeria, maybe we would have developed the Nigeria of our dream. I don't know. They now decided that they will help us manage Nigeria again. Even I've heard people that have said that, oh, the British left South Africa late. It was even in the interest. Go and see how South Africans are suffering today. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that it does not make any difference whether they left South Africa late or they went out of Africa like Nigeria and Ghana early, because I do not see the lives of South Africans as better than any other Africans. It might be a little bit better than those of you in Nigeria, but it is not as standard to the lives of many Europeans today. Because a South African would love to go and watch football in Germany, but it will be restricted. It will need a visa. You would expect that if British left South Africa late and they were so developed, that means a South African passport should go to Germany and watch football. without a restriction. But they decided that they don't want that. We will not give you a free access to our own end. But they were able to have access, multiple access into all our own. I'm being told now by my father here, or no, Adiola Fortune Michael, that they live in the slums. Forget about the lies that, you know, South Africa is doing very well. You will cry for the. That is why the South Africans are killing other African countries, especially Nigerians, because they don't even see us as the same. They see us as, why would you leave your own country that has much resources and then come and encroach on our own? Even as a Nigerian, I believe, from what I'm told, I don't know how true it is, you can confirm if you're aware, I think you need a visa to go to South Africa. But that is not the area I want to go. I want to stick to the amalgamation, because we keep talking about the amalgamation. Thank you so much, Badeshiri, Yoruba Nation, no going back, with the super chat that came with it. Thank you so much. Please share the program, and also,
I done.
No. Help us to invite others to come and learn what truly is amalgamation and what led to the amalgamation and who were we before the amalgamation. Remember that we are still talking about, and I'm going to post this now for those of you that are on my social media. So if you go on my social media now, within the next few minutes, the image that we have, I don't know whether it's a true image or it's the one that was, because as at that time there was not a clear picture of anything. Exactly the same thing with the religion. All kind of manners of things have been manipulated. So this time around, it will be difficult for us to know what is truth, especially as many things have been manipulated. But like I said, there's a crafted image of this particular individual that we talked about. I'm going to share it on my Twitter as well, so that if you're one of those that follow us, if you're not following me on all this platform, you're missing a lot, and you will probably not catch up, especially if you go on my page right now on Twitter. I can't post it, I can't show you a dog take the skin of a baby, not a baby, well we can still call it baby, because if anybody is still under 6, they're babies. I don't know how old the young girl is. This happened in Ibadan. I mean, dog kills as well in UK, so I'm not really making it look like it's glory or whatever. But the difference is that if that was in UK, I was hearing the doctor asking the parent to go and buy bandage. This is in Ibadan. You can watch the video. If you have the heart to watch it, go on my Twitter right now and you will find that video there. And if you're on my status, you'll be lucky, you will see it as well. And if you're following us on the Koikimedia group chat, you will have seen it as well. You will cry for the country that you think you have. Bí mo ti ṣe ń kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa lórí ìkànnì wa pé ẹ tún káàbọ̀, à ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa bí ìwáyé ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà bó ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀ láti 1914. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa arákùnrin kan tó ń pè ní Adriana. Wọ́n ní wọ́n bí ní January 24, 76 CE. I might find out what the meaning of CE is, because I don't know myself, but I will find out so that we can learn from this platform. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní nígbà tí wọ́n bí. Okay, Abib Odewande says, I was discussing with my colleague at work today, and we were speaking in Yoruba, and a white lady was closer to us listening to what we were talking about. She was looking in our direction in full attention, and she smiled. She asked me what language we were speaking. I told her Yoruba, a language from Nigeria. She smiled again and said to us, I like the way you guys communicate. She said she might not understand what we were discussing, but she absolutely liked the language passion. My Niger people, many people in this part values our language, but we will never see how important that language is to us. Please, let's keep our language spreading and as well preaching the gospel of Yoruba nation, as that is the only way to make it internationally. This is not Cook's story of any agitation or whatsoever. It is exactly what I experienced today. But how many people? And he went further to say, it is what I experienced exactly today. Respect to you, Koiki Media. Respect to every good Yoruba people out there. Love you all the way from Peckham. Hey, I need to Mumba wa jamala láìpẹ́ níbẹ̀ yẹn. Ẹ bá ń kí gbogbo àwọn tó wà ní South East. I love you all. Thank you so much for that very, very important information. Yoruba language will be a language that everybody will learn it, and they will want to learn it because, like I said to us 3 days ago, if I remember, to get a British passport, you would have to swear allegiance and you will have to do English test. So if you're going to become a Yoruba citizen, Lọ́jọ́ iwájú, you will learn Yoruba, you will swear allegiance to our country, and you would also learn a Yoruba before we can give you our Yoruba passport. Getting a British passport no be moi, because one more value. That is the reason why o gbọ́dọ̀ swear allegiance. Mo kí ẹ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Okoya Fọláyan, and shout out to many of you that have joined us. Please share this program. I beg you. Just invite somebody to come and listen, even if they disagree with us. Maybe they might learn one or two things, and they might start asking questions as well. So let's go back to history in today. We are still talking about one. Why am I bringing this history up? I'm asking the question again. Where is all those things that happened prior before the 1914 amalgamation? Gbogbo ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, kí ni àwọn nǹkan tí a lè sọ sí àti pé kí làwọn nǹkan tí a lè rò sí? Because if the Òyìnbó people wọ́n ṣì ń sọ fún wa nípa history tiwọn, why then must we throw away our own history? Kí ló dé tá ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ da history tiwa nù? And thank you so much, Daho Farms and Aquaculture. A shout out to many of you, as I will be mentioning your names along the line, but I don't want that to take my time. Why then lọ ṣe ń force history pé Koiki ẹ gbàgbé nípa tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1914, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lo in tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bọ̀ ní 1960. If we're going to talk about Nigeria, we will start from the 1914. We cannot start talking about Nigeria from 1960 because Nigeria did not start existing from 1960. The existence of Orukoye, that name, Nigeria, November, Indigo, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Indigo, Alpha, Nigeria, that name started to exist in 1914, not in 1960. All you got in 1960 was just independent. But taban sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Nigeria, orúkọ yẹn gangan, that name that is coined, that à ń lò lẹ́ni tó fún wa ní passport. Yes, I've got a Nigerian passport. I was born in Nigeria because that is what we were told. Because the name did not exist in 1970 when I was born. The name started in 1914. And the British did not hand over back to us until 46 years after. So that itself is kind of a little bit sketchy. It's kind of a little bit questionable. Kí ló dé tí British ò ṣe dá Nigeria yẹn padà fún wa nígbà tí wọ́n join it together? You first join it together. You told us that after 100 years, we can review it. That was there. But within the time that you join us together, you were still helping to manage the affairs on our behalf as if that we don't know how to look after ourselves. And that is a lie. Because Professor Adebanji Akintoye, in many of his books, have given us pure evidence that even the British people, that the Yoruba people, that we were given this kind of information as if, you know, we are monkeys and we are told, is a lie. It's a lie. It's like they are telling lies to themselves. Because wọ́n mọ̀ pé ọlọ́pọlọ ni wá. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé ọjọ́ kan máa wà. Ọjọ́ kan bí àì ó máa dé tá máa béèrè question. So wọ́n wá fẹ́ make sure pé ẹ dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé tíyàn bá fẹ́ tó bá fẹ́ dá nǹkan rú no That's not what I want to phrase out. Tó bá fẹ́ bà nǹkan jẹ́ kí lẹ rò pé yàn máa ṣe. Tí yàn bá fẹ́ bà nǹkan jẹ́ kí lẹ rò pé yàn máa ṣe. Ẹ bá mi kọ sí the comment section. If somebody is going to destroy something, what do you think they're going to do? Manipulation, all kind of, you know, hey, nǹkan báyìí ló sọ, hey, this, that. At the end of the day, that we found in the Yoruba nation, and that we have been finding inside the Nigeria that started. Tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ Nigeria, I am telling you from today, stop talking about Nigeria against the window, because as much as I want the air to come in, but it's also becoming too much. Àwọn ọmọ tó dẹ̀ náà wọ́n fẹ́ wọ́n ti lọ sókè tí wọ́n àtẹ̀dúpẹ́, so the noise has dropped a little bit. Whenever somebody, yes, it was joined forcefully. Whenever somebody is telling you that Nigeria, no, tell them that Nigeria started in 1914. What we got in 1960 was independent. Now, let's quickly touch on, let's go back to number 1. We are a nation with a proud root. Kí ló ń pè ní roots? I'll give you an example. Well, I always have something as an example in this world. I love practical. Where is the root? When this was cut, what they did was, we bought this rose for my wife, and then the root of this rose, I don't know where it is. Maybe I should ask Tesco or Asda, kí lẹ fi root yìí ṣe? Kí ló dé tá rí root ẹ̀? Kí lẹ gé fún? Okay, you cut it so that a tún gbìn mí jáde. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. So what they've done in our life is they've given us half-baked information. Oh yeah, Nigeria, go with this one. But èyí tó jẹ́ òkodo ọ̀rọ̀, tó jẹ́ original, what decide gbẹ́ kan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn? Àwa okay, if you truly want us to be a true Nigerian, give us the final root. Give us the final root, and let's join it together. And the magnet will decide whether we will activate. Why we are not yet activating right now is because many Yoruba people can still think that we are one Nigerian. Let the British give us the final root and join it together. You will realize that everybody will spark. We will all spark. The reason why some of us are sparking right now is because we don't have the root, but something is telling us that there is a root somewhere. Root more. Stop telling me about 1960. Stop telling me that, Agurosi destroyed. I'm not interested in whatever Agurosi did in 19 whatever. I want to know what happened to my root prior before the 1914 amalgamation. Níbo ni ìpìlẹ̀ mi wà? Níbo ni root mi wà? But Baba Akintoye was smart. Baba yẹn mọ̀ pé if we do not take you back to your root, all you will be seeing is, okay, let me take this one away. If I show you this now, right, all you will see is that, wow, ọmọ Koiki inú ilé yìí oríṣiríṣi ló níbẹ̀, nice rose flower. Ṣé mọ̀ pé mo show yín nísàlẹ̀? That is what they are showing Nigerians. They are showing you half-baked information. Oh yeah, continue to see illusion. Hey, Nigeria will be better. Nigeria máa da níjọ́ kan. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí Nigeria kó da. Hey, oh yeah, lórúkọ Jésù, lágbára jẹ́ Jésù. Mo bẹ̀ gbogbo ẹni tó ń di Nigeria, kó Nigeria da. Is not going to da. You know why? Because the root is not part of this water. Now, if you look underneath, if you look close, you will see that it's the same thing that I have here. That is, it doesn't have the roots. Like simple rhyme say, back to the basis, the genesis. Wọ́n wá gba òtítọ́ kúrò lọ́wọ́ wa. Wọ́n gbé òtítọ́ lọ. I will show you another one now. 1 minute. This is another flower.
Light rainbow.
This is who we are as Yoruba people. Can anybody confirm if this one has a root? Do you think that this flower only rooted? Can you tell me if this has a root or not? Or is it just the same thing like I showed you earlier? How many people can guess? I'll give you about a few seconds.
Light rainbow.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé chair kúrò. Ọ̀rọ̀ yìí gba ìdúró díẹ̀. Ń bọ̀. Ǹjẹ́, let me put my phones up a little bit so you can see. Can you confirm if this flower that you are seeing right now, ṣé ó ní rooted? Yes, ó ní root. No, kò ní root. Okay? Èèyàn kan péré ló wà pẹ̀lú wa. This is where I get a little bit angry because à ń ṣe program tó bá dẹ̀ pé kò wà okay ká kúkú pa kó lọ ẹ lọ sùn. Because kò sí point tá à ń béèrè question. This is a lecture room. This is how people will know whether we want Yoruba nation or not. When we ask questions, we want you to respond in the comment section. Everybody to respond. Ká pa program ká máa jó tàlàzó. Ká máa jó tàlàzó. Because bóyá tàlàzó yẹn ló máa gbé wa dé Yoruba nation. Ṣé in tí mo fi wọ̀nyí ǹjẹ́ ó ní ẹ̀ka nínú àbíbí tẹ́lẹ̀ náà lórí? Yes or no? Now, I will prove that this one only rooted. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to see how I will take it out. Now, eléyìí nísìn, ṣé rí pé ó ní oríṣiríṣi soil ó wà lábẹ́, ṣé rí pé omi gan drain. You can see that the water is draining out. You can now see that if I lift this up a little bit, you can start seeing that something is coming up. Kí ló ń jáde? Ó ń jáde pẹ̀lú soil. That is who we are. Òyìnbó wá gbé fake lé wa lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n ní ká lọ máa manage eléyìí. Do you see that this one doesn't have a root? This is the Nigeria of your dream without a root. But this is the Yoruba that Babakito is fighting for and Igboho. Because Tiba York Patapata, I don't know whether, okay, let's see. Now you can see it's got a root. That is the authentic Yoruba people. That is the fake Yoruba people. If anybody is still telling you that Nigeria will be great, you are holding a fake country, but you refuse to accept the truth because it is bitter. Then the IMF, the World Bank, the Western world, they do not want you to have your roots. They want you to hold on to the fake one. You can see that the soil, even it's got water, and I'm going to put it back. And this one, all we need to be doing is to top it up with water. Bobo soil yinisin. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to put it back because that is part of the nutrients. You would never experience any nutrients in Nigeria. They're sick because the original kò mean anything. It's part of who we are. Èṣù kì í ṣe anything ara wa ni kò bẹ̀sìn jẹ́. But what they've done is that ẹ má fọwọ́ kan yẹ̀pẹ̀ yẹn o. Ó ti dúdú. Ó dúdú kókókókó. You see what they've done? They've deceived us. Èyí tó yẹ ká mú ìyẹ̀pẹ̀ yẹn dání. Àwa mú ilé dání fancy one. Every week lórí àmàrà ilé fún ìyàwó yàn. A máa kọ́sì yàn lówó. Eléyìí nísìn àkọ́ máa tọ́pọ̀ omi ẹ̀ ni. A máa ní nutrient. A tún máa yọ ẹ̀ka míì jáde. Àwọn ẹ̀ka kan tí ń jáde ní gbogbo bíbá yìí nísìn. Ìyẹn lè ṣe rí oko jẹ. Mo kí gbogbo ilé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Let's put this back. And this has always been there every day, but I'm just showing you for the first time. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is who we are. Yoruba people. A máa gbìyànjú ni. Àwa ti dẹni tó ń struggle on a daily basis. Ọwọ́ wa lè lọ sẹ́nu mọ́. Àwa dúró de the world kó wá help wa. Tá bá ti ready, àmọ́ tá máa ṣe. Àìtí ready. Let me wash my hand. Once again, a very good afternoon and welcome to our transmission. mo kí gbogbo wa pé àdélé lórí wa lágbára Ọlọ́run. Yeah? Eh? No. I got 1 hour left. And let me just put this one. Okay, we'll go ahead and see. So now, ẹ jẹ́ ká wá lọ wo root yẹn bí bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe wá ṣàlàyé fún wa ní inú ìwé tó kọ síta. Bí bàbá yẹn ṣe wá ṣe àlàyé ẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́ a ní root? Ǹjẹ́ a ní ẹ̀ka? Ẹ̀ka ló ń pè ní root. I believe I'm right. Ẹ bá mi kọ sínú comment section if we are right or not. Let's sit down back. Ṣé rí pé ẹ̀ka yẹn ó ti káàkiri root yẹn lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ó ti spread. Ìwọ̀nba yẹ̀pẹ̀ tí mo ṣe yẹn ó ti spread. That is who we are. Tẹ̀ǹkan yẹn nísìn kò spread. Ó kọ̀ dúró bí omi adágún ni. Kò lọ anywhere. Ìwọ̀nba yẹ̀pẹ̀ kékeré kakọ̀rọ̀ agbéjáde yẹn ó tayọ káàkiri bógo wa ṣe fẹ́ jáde nìyẹn. Ògo wọ̀ lè jáde pẹ̀lú the other flower yẹn. Ó kọ̀ rose ni kò sí nǹkan lára ẹ̀. Fake ni bó ṣe wà yẹn. Ó kọ̀ dán lójú ni. But kò sí ọ̀kan lára ẹ̀. Remember to donate and support this platform. Adélé lè rí lágbára Ọlọ́run. Mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ. Mo kí àwọn family mi náà. Mo lè kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kó àdúró tì wá. Now, let's quickly go back to we are a nation with proud roots and a proud history. So ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré wo bí bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe kọ́ kákọ̀ kabẹ̀ yẹn ká tó tẹ̀síwájú. 1 hour 14 minutes into the program. We are live on the 10th day of the month of July 2024. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Mixlr. I believe that we have 12 minutes, but it might reset itself very soon. So let me read this quickly. We Yoruba are a nation with proud roots and a proud history. Let's bring this back a little bit. There might be no, because I realized that kuna on lap phone here, I need the juice like that. But I charge it. If not, kuma walen. That's it. So now let's bring it back. That's it. So we're good. We Yoruba are a nation with a long and proud history. According to our very powerful ancient traditions, we Yoruba are the oldest people. Oldest people. Just like Adren, Adrena Lokoteso. He was born in January 24, 76 CE. Just to have a better understanding. All right, I'm just going to leave that. I don't want to stress myself too much. But he died July 10, which is today, in that history. Bailey near Naples was a Roman emperor, 117-138. The Emperor Trajan's cousin and successor, who was a cultivated admirer of Greek civilization and who unified and consolidated Roman's vast empire. He was the third of the so-called 5 good emperors. But according to the paper that I saw, the information paper meeting, wet, we were told that he died today. Whatever led to his death was just as many people within Yoruba land have died for the good cause and thereafter and thereafter. We Yoruba are the oldest people, or the first of humans in the world. But the average Omo Yoruba ni, forget about that nonsense. We will save Nigeria. We will not allow Yoruba nation to exist. Even if it's going to exist, it is not now. Let us leave it to whenever. Maybe about ti kú àbí tàti dàgbà tàti pé bí 110 years old, 150 years old, then ká filẹ̀ fáwọn ẹlòmíì. So kò wọ́tẹ̀ nísìn. Those traditions tell us that in the beginning of time, when all the surface of the earth, omi ni gbogbo ilé ayé yìí, omi ni gbogbo ẹ̀. And don't let anybody deceive you that the world is just too many, we need to kill some more people. No, Yoruba can come out and still be as tiny nínú ayé tó wà yìí. If we come out as a nation, kò affect ilé ayé. But our coming out want to produce something better, but they don't want that. Àwọn tí rí, they can foresee, they've seen the future. Ẹ̀rọ pa àwọn náà ní nǹkan tó ń fi ń wò wá spiritually. Kí lẹ rò pa ṣe ń ṣe dáadáa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá? I keep telling you, àtẹni tó wà nílé, àtẹni tó wà labroad, we are all the same. We have the same blood running through us. Whether you go to university, you no go university. Whether you go polytechnic, in tó ń ṣe mí níbí báyìí, ẹni tó wà nílé náà ó ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. In tí mo lè ṣe níbí báyìí, ẹni tó wà nílé á ṣe 300 times tó bá lọ opportunity. Better than tèmi ṣe lọ níbí báyìí. But it's because the way Nigeria is structured, it has manipulated and it has killed our dreams. Those traditions tell us that in the beginning of time, when all the surface of the earth was covered by water, the Creator God sent some heavenly beings to come down and establish life on the earth. And the heavenly beings descended, bringing with them a chicken, a palm nut, and a small pot filled with a quantity of the earth. Their leader was Oduduwa. When they reached the surface of the water, nígbà tó dé etí odò yẹn, they pour out the earth, wọ́n dá yanrìn sílẹ̀, contained in the small pot, and it formed a small piece of ground, odile. Because if you also notice that when you go to Bar Beach, a man building kankan, àbí, but tó bá yá omi akọ wá ní, akọ wọ́ lọ ní, àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Ṣé mọ̀ pé what they've done in Lagos right now is what they call sand filling. Started sand filling, especially that project that is in care of the Shagori called the Eco Atlantic, where America also have decided that they have vast interest in that area. Ó sì súnmọ́ mi, but what if file, and wọ́n rán yín létí pé that is almost the same thing that happened nígbà tí wọ́n dá ìran wa náà síta, nígbà tí ìran tiwa náà dé ilé ayé yìí, omi náà ní gbogbo ẹ̀, wọ́n náà dá yanrìn síbẹ̀, yanrìn yẹn wá di kíni, ó di earth tá à ń pè ní ilẹ̀ tá à ń tẹ̀, ilẹ̀ tá à ń tẹ̀ yẹn ibẹ̀ la wá kọ́lé sí, bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa náà àrílé kọ́. We are still living in shanties and all over the place. Apart from Kashamari Cocoa House. Hey, Cocoa House, that calling by the Western region. Ìyẹn nìkan náà la ṣe ń fi ṣe reference. When Dubai are building 7 stars hotel, Burj Khalifa, where Hong Kong is taking skyscraper to 125-story building. But people like Benga Daniel told you that is a lift engineer. Abeokuta ní Olúmọ Rock, he could not put a lift just under few meters to take us up and bring us down. And the one that is there, which I believe they say was fixed, was produced, probably is not working because kò sí iná tó fi fi power. Ẹmọ reason tẹ́ ṣe ń kọ́lé alága olókè, kò sí iná tó stable tó máa. Imagine build those kind of house, then ọwọ́ amúná lọ, èèyàn wá wà ní 100 floor. To lift. That is why most of you that are building houses in Nigeria, you just build that small nice bungalow or duplex a maximum 5-story that people can walk, just walk, no lift. Even our olówó yín gan sef that says that they have lift in their house, it is just from that small floor to take them to their room, and they have enough electricity and backup generator to do such lavish wealth that they live. Their leader was Oduduwa. When they reached the surface of the water, they pour out the earth contained in the small pot, and it formed a small piece of ground. Then they put the chicken on this ground, and the chicken went to work scratching the ground with claws. So if you look at the world today, continent tó wá jẹ́ tọ̀dọ̀ tiwa tó lómi tó ní adùn tó ní gbogbo nǹkan wọ́n wá restricted, but Yorùbá sọ pé àwọn wà happy pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ the way it is structured, because ẹlòmíì owó tó rírí láyé ẹ̀ tó rò pé òun wà nínú politics kò tówó tí àwọn ọmọ China tó ń rí within 1 month. And over time then the cross and the ground spread and spread over time, became the continent of the earth. They then sowed the palm nut on the ground, and it germinated and became the first palm plant in the world. But all these, the West will tell you, is one story that was put together. But their own story, their own history, they want us to buy into that. They even want us to adopt it and put the image in our house, so that every time we wake up, we are seeing that as the first part of who we are. I was listening to Shoya Kuribe yesterday, and she blew my head off. I've never thought about that. What was she saying was fantastic, and I think I have so let me bring it up 1 minute. So I'm just going to take my wallet. It's not a lot of money. We still need money to work. But I always keep that because balele gbọ́dọ̀ ní backup kékeré. So I have these £5. Let me first ask, how many people will love these £5? How many people will love me to give you this? I know not everybody, but how many of you, I mean those of you in Nigeria, remember that the exchange rate today is 1,900. I'm not going to give you, but I'm just, for argument's sake, you don't need it. But do you know that if this £5, as it has the Queen's head, at the back it has this man they called orúkọ bàbá ẹ̀ orúkọ ẹ̀dá sàpá mi lórí nísìn ṣe prime minister wọn kan ti gbà kan tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ṣé mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń complain nípa Yorùbá ẹlẹ́bọ Yorùbá nation ẹbọ this that those. Have you ever thought that most of you receive money that has the Queen head from us? Ṣé mo pé ó tàn send sí olórí Queen lórí orí Queen wà nù ẹ̀, but you receive it, especially those of you that argue that says àyìn Yorùbá nation tẹ́ ń ṣe bọ́ yẹn, but they wá send owó láti UK nísìn, ṣé mo pé orí Queen ló wà nù ẹ̀. So orí tí ẹ̀yẹ kò ń ṣorí ẹbọ àbí? Imagine tó bá jẹ́ pé orí olókun la fi sínú bíbá. You can see why it is important that we continue to educate our people. So let's continue because of my time. Still watching the development in Hertfordshire. Our new resources, I've done what I can do from there. Churchill, triple DRS. That's the name I was looking for. Winston Churchill, another very powerful prime minister. So let's move swiftly because of our time. The heavenly beings became the first humans. Oduduwa became the progenitor of the first people in the world. The Yoruba people, and therefore the progenitors of all humans. Benny, we now have King Charles. Inje Eshegon Yami Comfort Ologunja Imotati to King Charles mo cherish Yami Queen Yawa Toku mo cherish it. But definitely the king Luwa Nisin Odeti Wanipa. And thanks so much for that update, man. So what we are trying to explain in this platform this evening is to tell us the importance of our history. Because if some of you say we should abandon everything that occurred or played out in our history before the 1914 and then manage to work with the 1914, even though, like I said, it took 46 years. Kó tó di pé òyìnbó dá Nàìjíríà padà fún gbogbo wa. Àwọn baba ńlá wa, Awólọ́wọ̀ and the rest that fought for that independence that we did not even get 100%. Okay, ẹ mọ̀ pé mo ti gbowó nínú bank, bówó yẹn ṣe ń dé là ń ná, ààrẹ àǹfààní àti gbàjáde, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó tó. It's not easy. Sometimes you hardly see money like this in this country, you know, because most of the transaction we do is on our card. It's unbelievable. Let's move swiftly. This little story, Timosoi, Babakito Eni, or myth, might make our children laugh, but to historians, it is something very serious, very important. It shows that long ago, our Yoruba ancestors saw themselves as the first people in the world and had no memory of any other or earlier humans before their Yoruba group. They even evolved more detail over time to add more strength to their creation myth. For instance, one myth has it that Oduduwa descended by a chain, and that chain is in Ile-Ife, the spot where Oduduwa touched down. And very importantly, early Yoruba people evolved patterns of behavior from certainty of their belief that Yoruba people are the first humans in the world. Behavior such as the goodwill towards all human groups and hospitality to our foreigners, which is what has given us concern in Yoruba land today, our hospitality. That hospitality has now become a danger to every one of us, whether you are in Nigeria or whether you are not in Nigeria. Our hospitality. And it is just part of who we are. It has been abused. We have been cursed. We have even been told that, and then so what? Hospitality really. And that is the reason why we need to be grateful that Bolon ṣe dá wa nìyẹn, even though ó ti ṣàkóbá fún wa báyìí. Our hospitality has now become the endangered. We have become the endangered species. Àwa la wá dẹni tí wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ, and it is happening on a daily basis in Yoruba land. Ẹ sunkún abiyamọ. Tẹ́ bá rí ọmọ kékeré tí ajá ṣá orí ẹ̀ tó ó scrap gbogbo orí ẹ̀, wọ́n wá ní kí òbí ẹ̀ lọ ra cotton bud àbí whatever tó máa lò fún. In a country that has so much wealth in Yoruba land. Unbelievable. And very importantly, I've read that in the 19th century, this is where the Maradona started coming in. The manipulative Western telling us, why not let us put you all together? You are better off together. Koda, having been together is better. Some people will argue, especially Yoruba people. Koiki, we are better off to live together. You know, we are stronger in, when we are together. We are better together. ẹ mọ̀ káwọn kàwé ẹ mọ̀ káwọn lọ sí school ẹ mọ̀ káwọn kàwé tán lọ sí school so àwọn tó kàwé yẹn so wọ́n máa jókòó àwọn ti ṣe gbogbo forecast wọn àwọn ti rí i pé tó bá lọ báyìí á lọ báyìí and they played on our intelligence and that is where that politics comes in. That is where Baba Akintoye now said, no, we shall make our elections quality elections. As we have seen abundantly in the political history of Nigeria. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé thank you so much for joining us and being part of this program this evening. As we have seen abundantly in the political history of Nigeria, and as we have seen in the political history of nearly all African countries in our time, poorly managed elections, manipulation and rigging of elections, disputed election results, conflict over elections are a sure source of political disaster. When do you think that we would have an election that would give us the kind of politics that we want in Nigeria? Because those in charge of Nigeria right now, the new breeds of criminals, the new breeds of people, tí olórí burúkú ni wọ́n tẹ́ pé wọ́n mọ̀ òtítọ́, but they purposely don't want you to know. Because why should the people we want to vote for first want us to kill each other before we vote them in? If you are going to do the needful and make sure that our lives are better, why must we kill each other at the polling booth, at the polling unit? It is because they are manipulative people. So if you like, make una wait, say 2027, we go chase Tinubu away and we go bring somebody else. Let me tell you what El Rufai's son said on X. Again. El Rufai Omwe. Don't pay me. The son of El Rufai is a member Kaduna North Federal Constituency. Moki Yawa Ireti Ebisuwa. Mo pronounce orúkọ. The last time I pronounced her name, she reached out to me at the back end and said, Koiki, orúkọ yẹn, ó mà lẹ́wà ju bó ṣe ń pè yẹn lọ. Orúkọ tó kọ̀rọ̀ tó ń pè yẹn tó ń massacre yẹn, orúkọ yẹn, you know, I mean, not in a way to, but she was just telling me that. And mo pronounce it that, you know, ìyá alálùbáríkà, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí ìjókòó, mo kí àwa Comfort Ológunjà, mo kí those silent listeners. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí mo fẹ́ yọ àwọn ọmọ àlè tó máa ń yọ wá lẹ́nu lórí program ni so ẹ jẹ́ ká yọ wọn kúrò. Ẹ jẹ́ àgbọ̀n kan tí ọmọ El Rufai Muhammad Bello El Rufai tó sọ. He posted something màá ní láti padà sórí. These are the next breed of politicians that are waiting. Ọfẹ kí Tinubu ṣe tán, that's tó bá ṣe tán, tó bá rí ṣe délẹ̀. Bó bá dẹ̀ ṣe tán, they're careless. The most important thing is they are ready to push him out. I should have retweeted. It would have been very easy for me to see. But mo rò pé mo retweet ẹ̀. Tí n bá rí nísìn. Ẹ ṣe ká ṣe wọ 1 minute again.
Why did you close the door?
Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé a kú ìjókòó àdẹ̀kú bó ṣe ń lọ. Nigerians seem very interested in ECOWAS now. The greatest power the man has over you is when it makes you convince yourself. In Calabar traditional culture, if you accuse someone of a serious crime, both of you will take poisonous nut. No. He was actually directing his message to Tinubu anyway. That's what he was saying, that whether they like it or not, mo ka àwọn messages yẹn ni o, mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí. Bàbá rẹ̀ nísìnyí, àwa later, àbẹ̀ kí n kó dá wa dúró. But this program ends in just 1 hour from now.
That are you finished?
No, I'm not finished yet. All right, I'm gonna move swiftly. Let me see if I'm not sure I retweeted it.
How many women are you finished?
I got 1 hour left.
What? 1 hour?
All right, I don't think I retweeted it. I don't think so. All right, so I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna move swiftly. So, in the 19th century, we are currently at the 21st century. In the 19th century, in some part of Yoruba land, homeland, especially in Ife, some of the first European visitors were puzzled that our people received them as kinsmen who had been long gone and who were returning to visit the original home of the ancestor. So in terms of our hospitality has given the first Europeans like, wow, but let's go further. While we are pondering this fact of Yoruba history, some modern scientists who are researching human genetic history are now saying that the earliest human DNA in the world have been found in our Yoruba nation, and according to all evidence from archaeological and allied researches, we Yoruba as one distinct cultural group have been living in our present homeland as far back as 18,000 years ago. The earliest human bone fossil found in a cave near Akure in Yoruba land and dating back to 6,000 BC, that's about 8,000 years ago, is the oldest human bone fossil found in West Africa since 8,000 years ago. We Yoruba have owned and held this homeland, and we have developed on it from age to age the highest level of civilization in Black Africa south of the Sahara. Long before the rest of Black Africa, we Yoruba began to develop into an urbanized people, a people living in towns and cities. Our homeland was the only urbanized part of the Black Africa for many centuries. We built our first towns in the 9th century AD, the first being the town of Ile-Ife. And we built more and more in the following centuries. By the time the earliest European explorers came to the coast of West Africa in about 1470 AD, we already had many towns and cities all over Yoruba land, most of them walled. By that date, we were one of the most urbanized peoples in the world. The question now is, how did people that are well urbanized people are now living like we are now in the age, that era, that bá máa sọ pé a wà ní backwards, bí ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí mò ń sọ, wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ní 8,000 years ago a máa ń ṣe dáadáa, à ń tẹ̀síwájú, à ń gbègbè àlàáfíà, à ń lọ sí ibi tó wù wá láì níbẹ̀rù. Àwọn tó ń ṣọ́ ibodè wọ́n wà níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn. Àwọn tó ń lọ sọ́jà wọ́n ń lọ sọ́jà. Nígbà yẹn àwọn èèyàn ń gbé níbẹ̀ just like bí Adrian náà ṣe ń gbé ní ilé ayé tiẹ̀ nígbà yẹn. Kí ló wá lè ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló fà á tó jẹ́ pé ìdàgbàsókè ò wá lọ bí bó ṣe jẹ́ kó lọ mọ́? Gbogbo ẹ̀ wá hang láàrin méjì. àbọ̀rọ̀ mọ̀ yẹn nísìn. àbọ̀rọ̀ mọ̀ yẹn. Why then are we backwards? ṣèbó ó yẹ ká máa tẹ̀síwájú ni. If truly we have the politics and we have the people that are saying that they are our politicians and those that are protecting us to make sure that we are well governed, we are living very well. If àtiwà àti ní towns nígbà yẹn a ṣe tí wàá rí àwọn ibi tó dàbí ìgbà tẹ́ pé àwọn máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣé bíbá yìí, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Most of the Yoruba city walls were great works of engineering. Modern researchers who have done research on one of the city walls, tó ń pè ní Ìjẹ̀bú-Òde city wall, have described it as one of the greatest man-made structures of the ancient world. Yawa Comfort Ologunjani, because Nigeria is not advancing. Nigeria is deteriorating, going down the drain. And the speed at the rate in Nigeria can go down. It's like we open drag gbogbo wa wọnú ẹ̀. I'm sure if we go back and remind ourselves about the Titanic, we were told, according to the history, that the Titanic was a ship that tọ́ba sọ fáwọn olówó tó fẹ́ ra tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì Titanic yẹn pé ó máa rì ẹ́ wá ní no wá ní because engineer tó kọ ó assure wọn pé kò lè rì. The Titanic eventually ó máa rì. Kódà àwọn kan tún náà fẹ́ lọ ṣe exploration, àwọn iṣẹ́ táwọn máa ń ṣe ni pé àwọn fẹ́ lọ go underneath. They've been there before. They've visited it before. People have gone there before. But àwọn ilé tí wọ́n wá fowó wọn ra wàhálà wọ́n wá lock wọn sínú capsule wọ́n wá jù wọn sábẹ́ omi. And we all know what happened at the end. What Nigeria is doing on our life right now is àwọn kan ń gùnkè nínú ẹ̀ lóòótọ́, the small percentage. Àwa tó kù wá wá ń drag wá wálẹ̀. Àwa táwa jẹ́ diaspora, àwa ló wá gbé bọ́dì ní Nàìjíríà lé lọ́rùn. So what that means is that every home in Nigeria today, if you do not have a diaspora, you will still have one diaspora that have supported one way or the other. And I'll explain to you. I am not talking about monetary giving to you. Do you know that every money that the diaspora are sending back to Nigeria is giving the Nigerian government guarantee with the international community? Because again, it's all about the numbers. One more numbers, owó tá à ń send sílé on a yearly basis. So the Nigerian government can easily say, look, tẹ́ bá yá wa ní X amount of money. Àwa mọ̀ pé àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó jẹ́ pé iṣẹ́ kúrú ló ń ṣe labroad wọn ní wálé because bó ṣe máa ń bú Nàìjíríà nìyẹn tí wọ́n ní pé kọ́ṣà máa bú Nàìjíríà pé kò ní ṣiṣẹ́ but wọ́n á máa fowó ránṣẹ́ sílé sáwọn èèyàn wọn nílé. Owó kí la fi ránṣẹ́? Owó gbà mo fún ẹ kò tó, owó mọ́tò, owó hospital, owó security, owó this, owó that, and all that money becomes billions of dollars on a yearly basis. So the government that we believe we don't even have the right to vote as diaspora. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà nílé tá a tún wá sọ fún pé ẹ má vote wọn even before the election, even before Yoruba Nation. These are criminals. They don't have anything to offer you. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa tún wá sọ fún àwọn pé no ẹ lè wà labroad kẹ́ dictate fún wa bá ṣe máa vote ní Nàìjíríà. But ẹ ti gbàgbé pé àwa ni part, I am not saying the food, but we are part of the engine tó ń run in Nigeria látìta. Let us imagine, and it cannot be done because if that happens, within the next 4 months tó kù tí ọdún ìmọ̀ fi parí, if all the diaspora withdraw from sending money home, I can assure you 10 million people will die straight away within the next 10 months. 10 million people of you will die. The numbers can be more, but 10 million àwọn èèyàn máa kú. As of today, I have sent smallest amount to Nigeria, 10,000 naira. Today, no, 9,000. I kept a little bit back for myself. 9,000 naira. Mo ti send ẹ̀sìn ọkàn as part of their logistics to move from point A to B because urgent what they needed. Tó bá dẹ̀ rówó yẹn wọ́n lè move because àwọn ò ní 9,000 yẹn. Even though owó mọ́tò yẹn ò tó bẹ́ẹ̀, but I purposely kept it like that because tó bá wà nù bus tí bá kọ̀ send owó mọ́tò nìkan sí wọn, tí bọ́ọ̀sì bá dé traffic light, àwọn ọmọ tó jẹ́ kó wà lábẹ́ ìyá wọn nísìn, just like our own children, àwọn ọmọ mi lè ń gbọ́ wọn látẹ̀kùn yẹn, àwọn ọmọ tó wá ń ta wóróbo yẹn, àwọn ọmọ yẹn ó yẹ yín mọ̀ ń bọ̀. Mo rántí pé mo fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan kan ní má bínú, mo kí gbogbo ilé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Àwọn ọmọ tí ó jẹ́ kó wà ní abẹ́ ìyá wọn tí ẹ̀kọ́ ti lọ sí school, kọ́ ti dé, kọ́ máa relax, kọ́ ṣeré ipá díẹ̀, kẹ́ni kọ́ kàwé díẹ̀, àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Àwọn ọmọ yẹn làwa máa wá dà sójú títì. So mọ́tò tó ń bọ̀ láti Ọ̀rẹ́ tó bá ti fẹ́ẹ́ dé àwọn junction kankan, àwọn ọmọ yẹn ti mọ̀ pé títì yẹn kúkú da, kò sí bí mọ́tò yẹn ṣe fẹ́ sáré á slow down. Ṣé wọ́n pẹ́ ní tèmi ní kó dìde láti ibìkan tó ń lọ ibìkan tó yẹ pa fún lówó mọ́tò, ṣé wọ́n pé tó bá wá débi tó ti ń ta oúnjẹ yẹn, a wá máa wò bọ̀ borí rẹ̀ sí pé ẹ̀dẹ̀ fún yàn lówó mọ́tò, ẹ̀tẹ̀ wọ́n rántí pé yàn máa jẹun lọ́nà. Ìyẹn la ṣe á di extra sí pé kò fi jẹun. At the end of the day, this is what many of you do not understand, the power of the diaspora. Now, should we now start campaigning and say, diaspora, though they're not going to listen to us anyway, let us stop sending money home for the next 4 months. That also means that it will look like we are selfish human beings, even though it should not be, because you have now seen us as our láti jẹ́ responsibility, and that is not meant to be. If we have got a government that works for the people in a civilized way, many of us today will not be sending so much. The only comfort me, our people cannot survive without the diaspora. Many of you will die. Not every one of you, but I can say millions of you will die. I'm trying to bring out another story that picked up. People's Gazette says Tinubu's inflation, bread scarcity hit Kaduna, Kano, and Katsina. Sáwọn èèyàn ṣì ń jẹ bread ni. 396 people have comment on that. Moki Amishade Loto, Rashid Balogun Moki àtàwà lórí Instagram. Mo ń bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ Tinubu padà, ìyẹn kọ́ ni mo need. Story tí mò ń wá lẹ́ǹkan, Sahara ti bá mi gbé. Story ọmọ Rufai tí mo ní mò ń wá lẹ́ǹkan yẹn mo ti rí nísìn. Ọlọ́run fẹ́ kí n ṣe lómi ní program mi. International Monetary Fund, ìyàwó Olúrẹ̀mí Kílàńkó Ọ̀gábí sọ pé, I agree with you, ìyàwó Comfort Ológunjà. Most Nigerians cannot survive without the diasporans. Àwa ni engine yìí. But we understand. We get abused, we get cursed, even ìta àmọ́ nípẹ̀ ẹ̀dálé wa lórí. But it's understandable. ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré ka ilé kí tó wá padà lọ wá story tí mo wá yẹn. Bashir father Nasir El-Rufai was among the ardent supporters of Tinubu's during 2023 general election, but things started to fall apart. There shall things fall apart. Bishop Adesina ní 1 litre of fuel now is sold for 1,100 naira. Àwọn eléyìí ń gbé story tó ń ṣe fact wa o máa wà ní Koiki ibo ló ti rí tọ̀dọ̀ tiẹ̀. If Bishop Adesina is giving us information on this platform, don't argue with it. If not, o máa lọ Nigeria láti lọ prove it fún mi. Is one of our very, very strong Yoruba Nation campaigner, the founder and the CEO of Ruba. Tẹ́ bá gbọ́ Ruba rí wọ́n ti ní ká máa ní pẹ̀lú yín pé kẹ́ wá join Ruba kò ń ṣe dandan kó má dàbí àtẹ́ pé Koiki ṣe ń tajà Ruba ni ẹ máa fowó yín sí náírà èmi náà fi tèmi náà síbẹ̀. If he survives it of test of time, if he doesn't survive it, tó bá depreciate mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ èmi kúkú ní tó pọ̀ nínú ẹ̀ ìwọ̀n ṣe ni náà là ń jù síta. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ ní ẹ jẹ́ tètè máa wá bẹ ṣe pé move ẹ̀ kò ń ṣe dandan ní kẹ́ lo Ruba, ẹ lè lo another source bó jẹ́ góòlù lẹ lè rà ní ẹ lọ rà pamọ́ diamond lẹ bá lè rà ní ṣẹ́rí náírà ó máa wọ omi gbẹ̀ ni. Bàbá mi máa kílẹ̀ sọ wọ́n ní in Abuja ẹ̀yin náà tún bá mi confirm ẹ̀ and Lagos some parts they sell 1 litre for 1,000 naira ó dìyàn méjì. Bí àdúgbò tiẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe ń ta ní 750 máa dúpẹ́ pé o sì fi rira lálẹ́ bí a tó bá máa fi jí láàárọ̀ ọ̀la ó possible pé kó ti di 1,000 lọ́dọ̀ tiẹ̀ náà. So if petrol bá ti di 1,100 tí mo dẹ̀ confirm ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn méjì tó ń mọ́ra wọn rí kó ọ̀dẹ̀ sí lórí same channel, ìkan wà lórí Koikimedia, YouTube méjì là ń run kúkú bá wa gbọ́wọ́ lé thumbs up bí ẹ gbàgbé ni ẹ jọ ẹ kúrò ní comment section ẹ lọ thumbs up. All this helps this platform to grow faster. I am not making any money on the YouTube. I am being honest with every one of you. My Koikimedia monetization has been removed. It's only monetization. Nothing is coming from it. We're not sitting here because of the monetization. We're sitting here because we want us to be well informed and educated about ọ̀rọ̀ Nigeria. Tá bá ń ṣeré eré ọ̀tọ̀. Tí bá wá tí mo bá fi ṣàwàdà mo mọ tí mo lè ṣe mo mọ tí mo lè sọ nísìnyí tó yẹ pé gbogbo abẹ́ àmọ́ máa rẹ́rìn ni. But tá bá serious à ń sọ nǹkan tí ó ń dùn bó tẹ̀ dùn mí lọ́kàn bí àtúndé mi ti jẹun nísìn mo dẹ̀ mọ tí mo jẹ mo mọ tí ìyàwó mi ṣe fún mi tí mo jẹ tí mo gbádùn ẹ̀ gidi but tí wọn náà bí ìyàwó ẹ̀ bá ń ṣe tó ń gbádùn ẹ̀ ó wà lára àwọn tó lucky ni ṣé ń lucky bó kò wá ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn ló lucky. 30 million of our people bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ nírọ̀lẹ́ and we are not making this up. Kọ́lọ́n jẹ́ kọ́ máa rí bọ̀bọ̀ tí ó pa àwọn mẹ́ta yìí. Wọ́n ti rí o. UK wọ́n ní rí kíni. Clifford 26 found that.
With the information being passed to the net and the
breaking news.
To maybe a sighting or information that the suspect was in the location he was found in.
Let's go back to Rachel Venables, who is in Enfield for us this evening. And Rachel, let's remind viewers that a lot of activity started to happen around about an hour and a half ago around that cemetery where you are.
Absolutely, this has been a hive of activity all day, with the police letting the public know so early on, around 8:30 this morning, that Kyle Clifford was their suspect, was the man they wanted to speak to, with them later talking about how he may be in possession of a crossbow.
Breaking news,
this is the area that he's from Enfield in North London. There's normally quite quiet borough, which is only around 16 miles or so away from Bushey. They searched an address quite early this morning, but certainly for the last few hours into the afternoon and then the early evening, they have been focused here at Hillyfields, which is a large park, public park, which is really enjoyed by local people, a huge area to the north of Enfield town. And this is where we have seen armed officers in huge groups with balaclavas across their faces and moving through the park, through the shrubland, the grassy areas, the tree cover, searching for any clues, any
bó ṣe jẹ́ kó máa wá àwọn tó bá jí gbé nìyẹn ní Nàìjíríà.
Down the road, which is just behind me, being blocked now by a police van. Cook's Hole
Fully-
Road, officers and
fully
paramedics
harmed.
sprinted down a few hours ago, going through the gate into Lavender Hill Cemetery.
èèyàn pààyàn mẹ́ta wọ́n draft everybody wá ní wá jíyàn gbé Nàìjíríà owó la máa dá fún wọn.
Up in trucks, but then in the past few hours things have quietened down. It was almost a moment of a flash and then it was all over. And now of course we have had that crucial piece of information coming from the police that wanted man Kyle Clifford has been located here in the Enfield area.
so kò kúrò níbẹ̀
We're
yẹn
being told
wọ́n
that he's
wọ́n
being
pin ẹ̀ mọ́
treated
bẹ́ẹ̀
for medical, he's receiving medical treatment, having been found within.
wọ́n tún fún ní medical treatment ẹni tó ti pààyàn mẹ́ta.
I mentioned that, of course, we saw paramedics and ambulances. We don't know if this was the location. As to say, we're still awaiting the crucial details, but it's really interesting to see how much happened here with that piece of information from the police. Crucially, also, they are at pains to let the public know that no shots were fired. I mentioned the huge armed officer response that we saw.
The huge armed officers wá jíyàn gbé Nàìjíríà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìyá mi comfort I trust the British police wọ́n pin ẹ̀ mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n jẹ́ kó kúrò ládùúgbò yẹn ọmọ kan ní kọ́ pin èèyàn wọ́n mọ̀ pé ó ṣì wà ládùúgbò yẹn wọ́n ní sọ fún public ni but wọ́n ti pin ẹ̀ mọ́ bí tó wà yẹn wọ́n pin ẹ̀ mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n jẹ́ kó jáde pé ìwọ́kẹ̀ kó jáde kó tún ṣe ìjàmbá èèyàn mẹ́ta ló pa BBC journalist ni àwọn tó pa àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ méjì àti ìyàwó ẹ̀ 61 years old ọmọ 25.
Tonight, as the family there and the community tried to come to terms with just that utter devastation, the loss of 3 women.
3 women.
A murder of 3 women, a mother and her 2
Do you know how many women got killed on a daily basis in Nigeria, in Africa?
important evidence as well.
Yeah, Rachel, thank you very much indeed.
Now, what happened now is there's a bit of relief for the public because talo máa rìn lálẹ́ nígbà tí ìyẹn mo ṣe máa ń wonder máa ń sọ pé ṣé mo lè ṣe logistic pẹ̀lú ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó ní ages ká lọ wá investors ká wá pé mọ̀mí comfort ológun jà káwọn bá wa draft the policy kí wọ́n ní mọ́mí business mo fẹ́ ṣe nísìn Nàìjíríà ni o ẹ̀yin dẹ̀ lẹ́ máa bá mi jẹ́ patron but mọ́tò la máa gbé láti Èkó lálẹ́ nìkan bíi 12 adé Kwara driver mi á drive padà a máa fi kérò lọ. Can we do that kind of business? This man's story is on a daily basis in Nigeria. But who do we hold responsible? Is because we don't have Mokesiva badness. Nítorí pé the government process kò sí. Don't blame the independent. Blame before what was happening prior to 1914 amalgamation. We were having a good life in our own little way. We would have developed more if we had been left alone. But rather, they merge us together. The end result is what we are seeing today. Armed men.
An information portal where people can submit any information, photos or video footage which they feel could assist us with our investigation.
Still here
in Bushy in Hertfordshire, where this all began 24 hours ago.
Sorry. That is, you can see the difference. This whole incident started from what we heard 24 hours, could take 24 hours. 7 o'clock, Aliano lọ́nà ṣẹlẹ̀. 7 Aliano ló ṣẹlẹ̀. 7 ò tí lù ní bíbáyìí. A dẹ̀ ti rí ẹni tí ó pa èèyàn mẹ́ta. Lóòótọ́ òkú ti lọ. Question will be asked o because tó bá jẹ́ pé council wà aware, ọlọ́pàá wà aware pé ó ti ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ yẹn àbí àwọn woman yẹn tí wọ́n ṣe kankan sí. Wọ́n máa forí àwọn èèyàn fagbọn o. That is the kind of country we want for ourselves. So ìtẹ́ bá ń sọ pé Koiki kí ló ń pè ní Yorùbá nation ẹ bá ń sọ fún wọn pé èèyàn kan lánàá Kylie Clifford ó lè wà ní record wọ́n parákùnrin náà ní Kylie Clifford Kylie Clifford ọmọ 26 years old ó pa àwọn obìnrin mẹ́ta ìyá 61 years old ọmọ kan náà 25 years old ìkejì 28 gbogbo wọn family làwọn yẹn bàbá wọn ń ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú BBC as àwọn tó máa ń report news nínú àwọn tó ń gun ẹṣin kódà wọn ló wà níbi iṣẹ́ nígbà tí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yẹn ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bí wọ́n ṣe ń délé ni or something wọ́n mà ní wọ́n ti rí ní gbàṣẹ́ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ìjẹ́ mọ̀ pé lọ́dọ̀ tiwa a máa ń dáwó ni mo ka story àwọn family kan mo wá story yẹn màá rí láìpẹ́ ó wà lórí àwọn family yẹn wọ́n pa ọmọ kan lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ I think Gimbe or something ṣé Gimbe ni wọ́n pa Kaduna ló ti kidnap wọn ok àríbá yìí kí n tó wá lọ ka tọmọ ẹrùfà Kaduna kidnap victim no. George tí a fi George sí lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kidnapping children of Kaduna George set free by kò sí nǹkan kan tó ń jẹ́ bandit. This is New Telegraph. The world, everyone at Sky News Racing is deeply saddened by the tragic death in Hertfordshire and our thoughts are with the colleagues. Kọ́lọ́n kó foríjì àwọn tó ti kú. Kidnapping children of Kaduna George set free by bandits. There's nothing like bandits, okay? And they didn't set them free. They paid 130 million naira. Only 250 longwa. That is what we do in Nigeria. That is ibi táwa máa ń lọ nìyẹn. Wọ́n pa ẹni tó jẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n wọn. The 3 remaining kidnapped children of Justice Janet Galadima regained freedom after about 15 days in captivity. They were kidnapped by the gunmen alongside their mother and elder brother, which has been killed, a 14-year-old. The Kaduna State Branch of Nigerian Association Chairman Godwin Ochi confirmed their release on Tuesday. A family source also confirmed the development to New Telegraph. Justice Galadima and her 4 children were adopted from their home in Mahuta New Extension in the Igabi local government area of Kaduna State on June 23rd. She was later released after spending 5 days with her adopter, Olonumoto Shefun. Also, her first son was killed by the terrorists for the inability of the family to provide the ransom money. The gangster, there's nothing called gangster, they are terrorists, demanded 150 million for the children's release and issued an ultimatum demanding the ransom to be paid within 6 days. Meanwhile, New Telegraph newspaper cannot verify if a ransom was paid or how much was paid. And we only saw because they are operating in Nigeria. I can tell you because I have followed the story from the source on X. Money was paid to the terrorists to the tune of 150 million naira. That is the kind of story at break. Suspect in crossbow attack, 3 women dead. Story at Day. Thanks so much for the coffee, my brother Ayuba Adebi Eshegoni. So let's continue with our own discussion. Leka parasori Omo El-Rufai. Bashir El-Rufai, a son to the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has claimed that no institution locally or internationally can stop the incumbent government from being voted out of office, making an allusion to President Bola Tinubu. The North will not support Tinubu come 2027. Whether they support him or not, Tinubu will rig himself back in. There's no doubt about it. He's still the president. He knows how to manipulate himself. Then what happened if Tinubu continued to allow Nigeria to exist because he wants to have the institution that works, he wants to have the economy that is going to work? What will happen after Tinubu has left the government? Because while Tinubu is there, we reported yesterday that close to 560, maybe not all the 8,000 that have been released so far because they were released while Buhari was there as well. But as at yesterday, report came back that 560 ex-Boko Haram have now been trained in Islamic study and some other areas, and they've been allowed to go back into our community because they are now good people. They've said, ni commit crime kokomo, inshallah. They've swear with the Quran, but I won't ni commit crime kokomo. They are good people now. Forgive us for all the ones that we've done. Emma Bina Yomo Nigeria, even though we are not Nigerians, just accept us. We just want to, your hospitality is what we love. We just want to live with you. I beg. And they surrender, they give their weapon back, and Nigerian police and the military say, that is what we want. We don't even want to kill you. We want you to come back to the society, because the ones that we have trained before, they are doing very well. They are, now we have about 8,000, I am not making this up, over 8,000 ex-Boko Haram are now back in our community. They are living with us in Ibadan. They are living with us in Ogun State, in Lagos State, in Kaduna State. They are living with beyond now to facilitate and talk kidnap. So why are we forcing ourselves in this contraction? So the topic that we are treating, because this program ends in 15 minutes, is to ask again. We shall make our election quality election. I am not talking about Nigeria election. Mukia Sonki, behold, all things has passed away. We want to live among you. Where àti àkódà àtẹ̀fẹ́ virgin tá máa ń tọ́ máa ń sọ fún wa pé tá bá ti lọ sí heaven a máa bá virgin méje sùn àfẹ́yẹn mọ́ virgin tá fẹ́ nísìnyí tá máa rí ni. So they now allow them. Thank you so much, Aaron. Now, Tinubu won election. Leave us alone. Go support Tinubu and Fulani people. Talili Mbasoro. Are you talking to us or you are talking to yourself? So once again, these are all the problems that we will continue to experience inside Nigeria. We still have the next couple of days to talk about this topic. They treat it in one day. You know, I should spread it so that we have enough to discuss about it. What we've touched this evening is more or less of the history that we found in that newspaper, and we're asking ourselves, how come we don't have the same kind of history that we should remind ourselves of? What are all the things that happened prior before the 1914 amalgamation? Some of them is what we have talked about in this little discussion. We know that we have cities and towns. We know that we have a great war. We know that many of them, taking advantage of our fertile land, our farmers raise more and more kinds of crops and produce increasing volumes of food prior before the 1914 amalgamation. After the 1914 amalgamation, 46 years later, we were given independence. After 63 years, our farmers cannot even feed themselves anymore. In London yesterday, a video was sent to me by one of our listeners, and every one of you have seen it. It's been posted already, where cows, the first-class citizen, are moving back to back. Moki, Mr. Shegun from US. Moki went to America. Moki went to Europe. And shout out to many of you in African countries. Johnny Danny, thank you so much. So we are not here to bring all Nigerians down, but we are asking questions. How do you want to rectify this problem? Is it by election? Oh, restructure. Oh, regional government. Oh, we vote back the northerners again. Because El Rufai's son is already hinting us what Shehu Sani told us, that the mannequin in Castina, you don't know the mannequin, Buhari, dead or alive, they are cooking something against Tinubu come 2027. But I am asking that, is Tinubu even himself in charge presently? Or are we just also seeing a figurehead president that doesn't hold water? Because I'm still figuring out how Tinubu allow Boko Haram that are killing us to be now allowed back in the community. One person killed 3 people. They drafted more men of soldiers, military armed men. that they are ready to kill him because we don't know his plan, because ẹni tó pààyàn mẹ́ta ó lè pa mọ́ sí. But in Nigeria àwọn afọwọ́ra wọn lórí sorry Boko Haram, you are now repentant, ẹ má bínú. Waris Jinadu bàbá mi ní agbèrò togri election, armed army polling booth station election, ọmọ ìta election, jàgídíjàgan election. That is what Yoruba people are waiting for in 2023. But El Rufai's son said I should remind you that tó bá wùn Tinubu kó lọ locally or internationally, they will stop him from becoming the president. And as we will be likely to say to us that, or we will say that, you can always say, ẹ kàn sọ̀rọ̀ ni o, ọ̀rọ̀ náà lẹ́ ń sọ látijọ́ yìí o, ọ̀rọ̀ yín ò débi kankan, ẹ kàn sọ̀rọ̀ ni o, kò lè mú kankan, kò lè change kankan. I have told you, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ṣe join wa, the root is because many Yoruba people are deluded that Nigeria will be blessed. Nigeria will go a long way. Koda, I have seen pastors lately now also, I'm talking about up to this week, I've been watching different videos where those pastors are saying Nigeria will be flourished. Nigeria will come back as a powerful, respected, and these are part of what God has shown me. I don't know which of the God they are talking to. Because another one is telling us that God told them, Moki Babami Adegoroye, Nigeria will be divided to 3. So I don't know which of the gods both of them are talking to. But we know that the God of whatever our faith, as Christian, as Muslim, as traditionalists, will fight on our behalf. But it's not going to come down. It will use the humans to fight this particular cause on our behalf. And this is where we come in as part of the movement to remind us that whether we fight it today or we fight it tomorrow, the fight is already with us on a daily basis. We cannot get there until Yoruba exit Nigeria. Yoruba must be free. Mr. Fatai Omotajo. I know some of you might say that, but Kini, on drag Koiki, on drag Ijuboshe Yellow, is because there are many elements of powerful people that prefer to see Nigeria continue to take us down than to have Yoruba to be free. We will bring a new child out. It will cost a lot of pain. We will use the last means of abere tonpe ni epidural. A máa gún Nigeria. Èmi mọ̀ bí tèmi ti máa gún. Èmi mọ̀ bí tí wọ́n ti fẹ́ gún. Let us all keep that injection on our side. So when they're saying give back, you know one give back, chook am wherever you think that you can chook it, but don't go ahead. Muki Babami Benjamin Adumati. Let us wait to first continue to enlighten many people that the problem of Nigeria is not your leader. It is not the 1960. It is not the 19 whatever. It is the 419 amalgamation. That is the problem, the genesis of Nigerian problem. And Nigeria started existing in 1914, not in 1960. 1960 was just people rose up and say, British, British, no, okay. Oh yeah, the same British tó wá lọ lẹ́yìn wọ́n tún wá instigate Maradona oríṣiríṣi coup, kò sí coup tí wọ́n fund, kò sí coup tó ọmọ nípa ẹ̀ àfi tó bá parọ́ fún yín. Gbogbo coup tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà, Amẹ́ríkà àti UK mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, CIA mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, MI5 mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, they all work hand in hand. So Yorùbá tó ní kí ló lè ń sọ yìí ọmọ Nàìjíríà ni wá, no, mo ò bẹ jiyàn yẹn pé òun ṣe ọmọ Nàìjíríà ń tọ́ pè wá nìyẹn. But kí là ń jẹ́ before 1914 orúkọ wo làbá máa pera wa tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n pè wá ní Nàìjíríà ní tipátipá ìgbéyàwó ọ̀ràn inú ẹ̀ la wà. Àìtí ìmọ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nísìn tarakùnrin fi pa àwọn mẹ́ta bí wọ́n fẹ́ kan nù wọn ni I don't know, I am not speculating, but ìgbéyàwó tó bá ti di pé ó máa fẹ́ mú ẹ̀mí èèyàn lọ ọmọ tẹ̀síwájú. Nigerians, the wedding between us and the rest is no longer working. We are never look. If you like, say, Koiki, I am married to Igbo. Koiki, I am married to Hausa. We love the people you marry to, but collectively, we don't want to live together as one block. Let us separate, and separation is not a war. Yawa Shade, one in Nigeria will never be great as soon as the Fulani are still living with us. Babami Benjamin Adumatini, some pastors are just doing their own. So that is how far we can go tonight. Moki we're going pastor ti egbo tito dani. We don't sit here and curse or bring down the men of God. What we do here is cross-check whether the men of God that are saying that Ọlọ́run fi wọn àsíá mẹ́ta Nàìjíríà máa pín, pastor kan náà tún jáde ó ní Ọlọ́run ò sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ìtọ́ Ọlọ́run sọ ni pé Nigeria will be great, àti ìtọ́ Ọlọ́run sọ àti tí kò sọ. Men allegedly trading human part for 600,000 naira now with human skull in the bones in Abuja. News now ṣe àwọn ọmọ mi ló ṣe draft ẹ ṣe jáde ẹ ṣe gan ni. So àníri jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀yin wa ẹ má ẹ̀ka China to grant 5-year multiple entry visa to citizens of 14 Central Eastern European countries. Fáwọn Nigerians náà ní kí ló dé bá ṣe sọ kọ́lọ́n kó bá foríjì bàbá wa tó ṣaláìsí bàbá wa Bishop Oyemade Macaulay, the YSDM Ẹlẹ́kùn Èkó. He died yesterday according to what we have been told. Mo kí àwa Tonade Victoria, mo kí bàbá wa Babatunde Gani Olóyèdé, ó ní 46 years ló wà láàrin 1914 títí dé 1960. Mo kí gbogbo yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. I gotta go now because I've held this living room and they are not, they are becoming very, you know what that means. So ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lọ ká lè túnṣe kíni. Mo ti rí ọwọ́ yín ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń fún wa ní support yìí. Thank you so much, and I will be back, as you know, whenever I'm back. Make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on. If I haven't mentioned your name, go into our Instagram náà ni mo kí. Ẹ̀yà mi Zainab mo kí yín mo rí yín, Mr. Akintola, Mr. Yemi, official Oladeji Chile. Ẹlòmíì kan wò mí tó fẹ́ yẹ wàá dákẹ́, èmi ò ní dákẹ́. Iṣẹ́ tí Ọlọ́run fi rán èmi lèmi ṣe. Tẹ́ bá rò pé mi máa dákẹ́ kàkà kí n dákẹ́ màá tó máa add money. Iṣẹ́ tèmi gbé dání nìyẹn. Àwọn kan mọ bó ṣe ń kọ̀wé ni, àwọn kan mọ bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ ni, àwọn kan mọ bó ṣe ń ṣe oríṣi olúkálukú ló ní role tó máa play. Role tèmi lèmi play lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ẹ̀yin náà fẹ́ wà Pastor Joseph mo kí ẹ ṣé gan ni. And like I always say, I am your last man standing. Ọlọ́run fún wa lálàáfíà. Mo kí ya mi, mo kí bàbá Kítóyè, mo kí olóyè Ìgbòho, mo kí gbogbo group pátápátá. Àkú afẹ́ra kú bàbá wa tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ aláìsí. Gbogbo àwọn tó ti kú náà kọ́lọ́n kó bá wa tẹ̀wọ̀n sáfẹ́fẹ́ rẹ̀. Ẹ rántí pé gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí àjọ ń ṣèrìn àjò yìí ẹ má ẹ̀kọ́ rẹ̀yìn, ẹ má ẹ̀kọ́ sọ fún yín pé kò lè bọ́ sí. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé tó bá ti bọ́ sí ayọ̀ la máa jẹ nínú ẹ̀. Thank you so much. Iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wá forílẹ̀ ibi wa kàgbéga falẹ̀rí ìgbàgbọ́ wà ní pé bàtí bẹ́rù làbọ̀ mọ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ kájọlá ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹjẹ́ ká máa lépa ìtẹ̀síwájú fọ́pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára ọmọ odò àdédé bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ ìwọ ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Yorùbá nation.
Now.
Yorùbá nation.
Now.
Yorùbá nation.
Now.
Thank you all. Bye for now.
What's in it?
Yes.